And good evening, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Perspectives. Daren Jaime here with you tonight as we continue our discussion at something that is plaguing our community, something that doesn't seem to be going away. We're talking about violence in our community, particularly in regards to youth. It seems as though as time continues to draw near, we've got more and more youth involved in violent crime, many being arrested, many dying, and at the same time, many people asking questions as to what can be done to really stop the violence and really bring some positive alternatives to youth. Our guests in studio today are some people who are going to help us to discuss this, as we'll have a group of people actually sharing with us today. But our guest in studio is a longtime community activist. He's the director of the Bronx Youth Empowerment Program. He's a man on a mission to change our community amongst jobs and bringing opportunities to youth. Andy King joins us. Andy is also the former Democratic candidate for the 12th Councilmatic District who lost in the primaries, but very involved politically, socially, and in the community. Also joining us in studio is Lisa Hayes, a youth activist out here in the borough of the Bronx. And thank you both for joining us.
Thank you.
We want to, first of all, give a little bit of a background as to some of the things that we're talking about. Just on November the 2nd, a Bronx Regional High School senior shot in the shoulder on the way to school. But more importantly, just over a couple of weeks ago, an 18-year-old was arrested for the fatal shooting of 92-year-old Sade Mitchell. For those of you that don't know, Sade Mitchell was a beautiful lady in the Bronx community, just known for pretty much being Miss Sadie. But yet and still, she was home while a bullet came through, killing her. And what we later found out was youth in the community were involved in violence. A stray bullet kills Sadie, and still to this day, outrage, but most of all, questions. What can be done? And Andy, I got you here. When you heard about Miss Sadie, obviously, a lot of questions came to the forefront as to, first of all, why and how.
Well, it's sad. It's a thing that I look at as adults have dropped the ball on our youth in our community. There is no reason that if you work hard, you live a long, prosperous life, that at 92 years of age, you know, when you get called, you get called. There's nothing that you can do to stop that call from the man upstairs. But to die violently after she committed her life to serving the North Bronx community and helping young people and just being an outstanding citizen. You know, I had the privilege of meeting her at a number of community meetings. So yes, I was touched to find out that her demise was at the mischief of our young people that are in the community.
Mm-hmm. And I want to ask you, Lisa, when you heard about people like Miss Sadie, whose life was taken so tragically, and then you hear that it's at the hands of young people, and then you always know the stereotypes that come with young people, what goes through your mind?
I'm very deeply touched because I know that a lot of our youth are just misguided because we have no serious positive leaders. We don't have many. We're out shooting and killing each other because we don't know which way to go.
When you talk about direction, it's something that, you know, I think many young people do have direction. But Andy, I think we've had this conversation before. How much of us seeing young people on the street can be attributed to the lack of resources, whether it's community centers, opportunities, jobs, things of that nature that could really be given to them? How much do we attribute that to other things?
It's a percentage. I won't say it is a major percentage because, and we'll talk about, since it's the area where this crime took place in the 12th district, there are facilities such as beacon programs that are available to our young people. I think one of the things that contributes tremendously to the dysfunctional of our youngsters is home life. Discipline starts at home because we have young people in our community that are doing positive things and taking advantage of how little our community has to offer or how great our community has to offer. There are young people that are taking advantage of it. So I think it all starts at home, and it's up to our young people to be able to get the discipline at home, the values placed themselves at home, because when they go outside, if that's inside of you, not much is going to help you to deter or stray from, because you know what you got to deal with when you get back home. Mm-hmm. But if you have a dysfunctional home or you're off just pretty much raising yourself, which a lot of our young people are because they're latchkey kids, because parents are working 1 or 2 jobs, so don't spend time with them. We have situations where young people missing love find it in any place they can. And I'm not just talking about the physical love, but I'm just talking about mental love, someone who's going to look out for them.
Well, Lisa, let me ask you this. When you deal with young people on the street and you see them and you know the ones that hang out, I mean, there's a certain group of people that are just cool and they're doing their thing and they get their hustle on like you do. But then yet and still there's others out there that really aren't doing the right thing. Talk to us about those that you have conversation with that aren't doing the right thing. What are you hearing from them?
I hear a lot that they feel that our community doesn't care about them, that they don't see any hope in school, that they feel like the streets are better for them because they feel more love from the streets and from the gangsters and the older drug dealers. They look out for them and they put money in our pockets, in their pockets, and they see these flashy cars on TV and they see the gold jewelry and they see the drug dealers wearing that, and those become their role models.
And so when you have role models like that, obviously we know what the final
Yes.
result is. Gangs.
Yes.
Obviously, you know people who are involved in gangs.
Yeah.
What's the main focus behind joining a gang that maybe people out here don't recognize?
Behind joining a gang, many teens go to gangs because they feel secure, they feel community inside their gang, they feel like they're untouchable also. And with these gangs, you begin to gain ranks, and they feel like they have power and leadership. And though they have leadership in the wrong place, they do feel a strong sense of leadership. Maybe they didn't feel at home or in school because often the kids that are in gangs were ignored in the better places.
Mm-hmm. And Andy, we want to talk about Andy's program, the Bronx Youth Empowerment Program. For those of you that don't know, a very powerful program right here in the borough of the Bronx. Exactly what does it do? It actually gives young people leadership opportunities. Not only does it give young people leadership opportunities, they have an opportunity to basically interact with community members, with civic leaders, with business leaders, and that exposure. I want to talk about exposure for a moment. How much do you think exposure makes the difference in the lives of young people, especially with the exposure that they get through the Bronx Youth Empowerment Program?
Exposure is everything, especially in communities where there isn't a lot of money. Reason I say that, growing up, I had the opportunity to be exposed to different things outside of the community growing up. So you know there's a world outside of your world. And I say that because I've spoken to a lot of young people who say live in gun hill houses or Eden wall houses who have not experienced the world outside of that world. So what kind of growth do they have if all they know, say, is 229th Street, or all they know is Holland Avenue? The Bronx Youth Empowerment Program allows young people to have choices, to see that there are better tomorrows. Lisa alluded to that, having hope. A lot of the young people don't even see themselves going past 18. Why? Because they have no hope and they don't inspire to do anything. Why? Because the surroundings that they have themselves in are violent or crime-ridden. The Bronx Youth Empowerment Program wants to offer that opportunity so they can see that there's another side of life. There's a positive side. Yes, there are goals that are set in the program. There's exposure to not only just the community, but exposure to themselves to help them understand themselves so they can deal with the world. Teenagers are prone, and their jobs as teenagers are to make mistakes. It's what you do after you make the mistakes. Do you learn from it and correct the behavior so you can survive to be an adult? Or do you continue to engage yourself in such behavior that will not allow you to be an adult? The Bronx Youth Empowerment Program offers that type of assistance to allow you to understand yourself so you can deal with the world.
At least I want to thank you because I know you got a little laryngitis issue, but I'm putting you to the mat today, but you're holding up real good. When Andy was talking about 18-year-olds or teenagers who actually say, listen, I don't think I'm going to make it. This is real.
Yes, very much so. And it becomes a reality because us as teenagers don't, especially in our community, don't see our surroundings. They don't begin to broaden their surroundings. There's many college fairs, there's many scholarship programs, but they're not always exposed to it. And because they're not exposed to it, they see no more hope. And because they live in the places that they live, they see more death than they should. That their friends are getting killed before their mothers and their fathers and their older cousins, which makes no sense.
I want you to stay with us.